Great. Well, welcome everybody to session 4 of the 2021 Smart Arts Education Institute, sponsored by Prisma Health. I also want to give a shout out to the TD Center for Arts Integration, who is making this possible. To session 4. I'm just going to turn off my YouTube so we don't hear us in echo land. Thank you to those of you that are maybe joining us this afternoon. I know we have a couple of teachers that are teaching summer school at this time, and they're going to catch us on YouTube when they finish teaching today. Also, of course, if you have questions and you just want to go back and look at any of our sessions, we are going to leave these on YouTube at least for the next week, and then we'll make them unlisted, but we will have those links available to share with you. So if you need to go and review anything, you absolutely can. I am very excited to introduce our guests, but I just want to mention also, I'm very much looking forward to seeing everybody at our in-person lunch tomorrow at 12. That, of course, is optional, but many of you have chosen to come, so that's going to be a really fun way for us to network as teachers. And then also, we will have our year 3+ Smart Arts teachers joining us tomorrow morning for our process drama class. So we'll have all of our Smart Arts teachers in one place on the Zoom, and then we'll be seeing you in person at noon. Definitely email me if you have any questions or any problems, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. But now I'm very excited to introduce Sunny Malarkey McGowan. She is joining us from her studio in the village of Green, I guess West, is it West Village, Sunny?
West Greenville, yeah.
West Greenville Village. Sunny Malarkey McGowan is a fine artist residing in Greenville, South Carolina. Growing up in the Sea Islands of the Low Country in Beaufort, South Carolina, Sunny was accepted into the Governor's School for the Arts summer program. She later attended Anderson College, then the University of South Carolina. She now resides in the upstate with her husband and 3 children, where she's active in the local arts community. Her fine art studio is located in the Arts District of the village of West Greenville, and she's completed several murals around the city of Greenville. I definitely know there's a lot in the downtown area. She takes great joy in teaching as well. Sunny's a teaching artist at Smart Arts, and she's been working with us for a number of years and is a former Smart Arts Teaching Artist Award winner. So we're very happy to have her here with us. Welcome, Sunny.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. I absolutely love Smart Arts. I love being able to get into the classroom with your students and work with you guys. A lot of kids have not had the experience with printmaking. So just to see that magic happen when they pull their first print, they're like, oh, I did it, it worked. And I was like, I know, I say that all the time. So Kimberly gave me such a wonderful introduction. So thank you. I have a question for everybody that's going to be on the Nearpod. Is this your first year with Smart Arts? So you can say, nope, not my first rodeo, or yep, so excited. Ooh, this is fun. Guys, this is my first Nearpod, and I feel very proud that I have gotten that I figured it out with Kimberly's help. It looks like we have, looks like a half and half. That's awesome. Yeah, like half and half. That's really cool. Well, little, yeah. Okay, probably a little more than their first year. So welcome. This is I think 2018 was my first year. So this is my 3rd year. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my time. Like I said earlier, I just switched the page for the Nearpod. And I don't even have to say any of that because Kimberly did such a great job introducing me. But there is a little picture of my studio and my family and one of the murals that I've done in some art. So welcome, that's me. And okay, so I have on the next page, I brought some prints of examples that we've done with students and a unit example. I also have, just in case, we need it. I do have the printed version with me in case I need to reference anything, but on your screen, on the Nearpod screen, this talks about our, I worked with Karen Perkins at League Academy for social studies. This one is from the 2018 session that we did, but I've actually done that again with her and her students. And I feel like this is such a really powerful program or unit to do with social studies. I know that we've had some updates in the social studies. What are they? Like the academic standards. There we go, the standards. And so just so you know, this is just from the 2018-2019 school year. So some of this might apply and some of it might not, but I think generally it should really come across the board. So what we did for our unit was after the students had studied the Bill of Rights, that was their front loading. So that's what they had studied previously, previous to me getting into their classroom. They reviewed and studied the Bill of Rights, and then our topic was, which our inquiry question was, after studying the Bill of Rights, I can complete a linoleum relief print symbolizing one of the rights guaranteed by this document. I can then use the print to help create a Bill of Rights quilt. And so what we did, we actually, because they were 8th grade, and I've done carving with all the way down to 5th grade, and we have there's tons of different mediums that we have, and I'll show you those in just a minute. But this was one of them, and this was one of them. So maybe not like this. So this one is obviously the right to bear arms. That one is the fair trial one. Forgive me for not saying it exactly right. But, oh no, sorry. He did a double jeopardy. So as you can see, these are the linoleum prints that they carved, and they had the tools, and then we did a series of prints for each one of them. And then here's this little guy. I get to keep some of them when they're like, I'm just gonna throw these away. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep those. But we had some really great examples too with other students. Look at that. So it was such a successful unit. And at the end of it, I think I have it on the next page here are my pictures. So that schedule on the Nearpod is what we went through for our unit. And we were a 6-day unit back then, but there are some pictures that I've collected and from the couple units that I've done with Karen. And as you can see, there is the printed, or the quilt print, the print quilt that we were talking about on there. And it was, we did several of them, and they mounted them into the hallway of League Academy. So the school was able to see it the rest of the year. And then Karen keeps it. So she uses it as examples in her class when they're doing that unit as well. Do we have any questions about that? Okay. So my next unit example was printmaking and temporary mural with Beck Academy with Stellar, or with Carlin Stellar. She's the art teacher there. We had a little dual thing. This was this year, but we've done, this is our second unit that I did with her. This current year, we did printmaking and a temporary mural installation. So with our printmaking, the first few pictures, we did the foam prints, and that's what we're going to be doing today. And this, even though they were middle school and they could handle the carving part, this just went more into what our unit was going to do. They had been studying self-expression in their through art, and I think I have that unit question right there. But the other side, before we go further, is on the Nearpod, is our temporary mural installation, and that was really fun. The students used math and created patterns to make this large, long mural of individual tiles that they created and fit them into the windows. And we cut out some of them and then put colored clear plastic behind it, so it would cast rainbow shadows on the ground as the students were walking through. That was a huge hit with the school as well. Let's see. Oh, how can art create a message? So the one image, the mural was inspiring joy, and this was during like right when we came back from lockdown and everything, so we were trying to spread as much joy as possible. And let's see, I think that's, you guys have any questions about those? Kimberly, did I get it all? Did I get, okay, cool. So these are all in your Nearpod. They are definitely available if you need to access those later. And
Sunny, I love that. I love that inquiry question. How can art create a message? That's such a great inquiry question for a unit. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. It was definitely, especially because we were both, I'm a visual artist, and Carlin is also the artist of the school. And she really just wanted to inspire joy within the students, especially spring of 2021. So let's see. All right, we are going to do a demo time. I had too much fun designing the Nearpod screens. Oh, let me show you this really quick. Sorry, I didn't pick this back up. I'm going to show you a couple different mediums. So this was Carlin's one year where we did the foam prints. These are foam that we had the students draw and then cut them out to create. This is a self symbol, and then they did jelly plate printing on the back. So
the feather was created with the same foam print that's actually in your supply bag.
Yes.
So it's a very simple technique.
Yeah, it is. And I have actually, these are some 5th grade ones from, oh no, these are other materials. So this is one type of material. This is a pink, it's probably really familiar to you guys. It's a Speedy Cut by Speedball. They're really easy to carve and great for students, but you do need a sharper tool, and which that's what I have. But we're really going over these the foam prints today because it's such an easy and accessible thing for you to do within your classroom as well. So hopefully you'll be able to like incorporate this in other ways. The other one, the students that we did, where I showed you these guys, were all on this thinner, harder linoleum. That is a little bit tougher, but it was that was the 8th grade class. So the 5th graders did the carving for these. Where did it go? This guy. So, and then they printed right here. You're so cute. So that was just another unit that I have done previously. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do printmaking. Let's see, I'm gonna move this out of the way so I don't get ink on my precious children's art that I saved. Okay, so for our lesson today, let's see, you have your magical carving tool. It is a lollipop stick, but I don't ever call it that in class because we don't want any kids putting it in their mouth. But this is such a great tool to use with the foam pieces that you have. And these are your foam pieces. They are, I know a lot of people get questions about like the packaging plates from grocery stores and things like that. And it's essentially the same thing. This is actually a little bit thinner, which is great for kids. They don't have to push as hard and use as much force to actually like, rather than carving it. This is your doodle pad. This is our paper that we're going to be used for printmaking today. And let's see, and here's your ink and your brayer. So let's see. Ooh, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to design a little print and print. And this, we're going to do a brainstorming activity beforehand. So on your next Nearpod page, I have a couple questions. What images, symbols, or objects represent my job What is your favorite thing about teaching? So these are all, you can sit there for a minute and think about it and then go ahead and type it in. Kimberly, there's another question on there, but I can't read it verbatim because it doesn't show it to me.
The next one is, what is your favorite thing about teaching and how can you represent with that with an image, symbol, or object? Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
So they can brainstorm all of that in the provided space.
Yes.
On the Nearpod.
So yeah, you don't have to answer every single, we don't need a paragraph. We just.
Unless you're an English teacher, and then you're allowed to write a paragraph.
You can write as much as you want. You can, yes, exactly. You can do a short story. We'll let you read it out loud. I don't know if it's distracting. I could tell you the things that I love about teaching and I know I'm an art teacher and you guys are more of the academics. So I have a little more, I don't have as technical, I guess, in certain ways, but in certain ways I do. I love going into the classrooms and talking with kids. Especially when they have a hard time with something. If they're having a hard time with their print and they're like, oh, I messed up, or this looks bad, I can't do this. Those are moments that I think are amazing that I get to hear because I get to go in and talk to them and say, have you ever done this before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you can't be a pro the first time you do something. So let's just practice. Art is all practice. Or if they say I messed up, my favorite thing to do is to tell them I don't see where they messed up at all. And if I can't see it, no one else in the world can see it. And so if they just don't point out what they think they messed up, then there's no mistake. Just cancels each other out. So let's see. We've got books, light bulbs, smiling faces, numbers. Oh, I can't see all of them. I'm sharing it. I don't even know what that did. Forests, children playing in the outside. I do love that too. Apple, math symbols, schoolhouse, students, collaboration, and creativity. Yay! Hands could represent that. Very good. Yes, so these are all going to be what we are going to be thinking of when we're going on to our next step. So the next step is project time. We want our prints to, for the students and for our purposes today, they're simple yet tell a visual story to express our ideas through images. We're going to be creating an image to symbolize your favorite part of teaching without using any words or numbers. Just so we depend solely on that, on our visuals rather than interpreting through letters and numbers. We went over the supplies that we had before. So if you saw the note before and you don't have it, just what we're using is a paper plate, styrofoam plate, or you can even, if you don't have anything right around you, you could probably use this little shiny part right here on the back to ink. And let's see, paper towels, pencils, pens, and things like that. So, and a large wooden spoon. So the wooden spoon is going to replace our baron. And this is a baron that I use in classes. It's a little bamboo baron. And the students will use it to press down and print or press their paper into their matrix or their surface that they're printing from. Let's see. Okay. So, and the back of the spoon actually is, that's what I first started using when I was in school. You just hold down the bowl part of the spoon and just rub it over the whole thing. And I'll show you when we do that one. Okay. So step one is sketching. What we're going to do is just grab your doodle pad and those ideas that you thought of before, get out a pencil and just kind of jot down some different ways that you could express that. Like we saw apples, we could draw apple. We're only going to take about 5 minutes to do, like, think about a design. And you can also do this. You can take your foam piece and do a little outline so you know how big to make it. I don't know if you can see that. So I just did an outline there. I'll highlight it so it shows up a little bit better. So I just traced it and I'll draw something in here. My favorite part about teaching is the tools, I guess. I love using I love the kids and I love the tools. But I'll do something, little happy kids. When we're working on our idea, we want to fill up the whole, we want to take up the space that we can, but you don't have to be super detailed. This is a simple drawing, and you don't have to, we have lots of different ways that we can help kids who feel like they can't draw, or adults too, who feel like they can't. One of the ways is you can have your drawing or a photocopy or something that they've printed out on a piece of paper and actually place it directly on top of the foam, and the kid can trace it with a pen or a pencil, and that actually puts a little bit of an indent into their foam, and then they use that as like their tracing guide, and then they're still going back in there to add the details and shading and things like that.
And if you do need tracing paper to trace an image, you do have tracing paper in the kit from Tim Davis this morning, just, if anyone wants to trace anything.
How many people have kind of an idea or like a little sketch out? Got a couple? Awesome. Yes. Here's mine. I know that you're like, everything's really tiny. Let's see. Awesome. Oh, I love it. Look at that art palette. Ooh, a camera. You guys are so good. Oh, trees in the sun, outdoors. Yep. Oh, puzzle pieces. Excellent. Ah, drama. The comedy and tragedy. Love it. So, oh, a light bulb. You got it. So what I will do is I'll just have you guys watch while I do this for you, or like do a little demonstration of the carving technique. So because that's our next step. So step 2 is carve. We're going to be drawing our image onto the foam. You can use your carving tool, or which is, again, the lollipop stick, but I love it because it breaks the connection between this is a pencil or a pen to where this is a tool. When you are drawing with one of these, we're essentially pretending it's the carving tool. So anywhere that we press down will be taken away in the drawing. And just to clarify that, positive and negative space is created kind of the opposite way that you think it's going to be. So anywhere that they've left behind their design, they did not carve there. And anywhere that you can't see it. Let's see. I know this isn't the same one, but anywhere they've carved away will turn up the color of the paper. So we're using white paper. And in this instance, we use black ink. So what they will do is they'll carve away anywhere they want to be white and leave behind anything they want to be solid. And then the other thing that one of the reasons we don't use words or numbers with students is because it's a mirror image. When you go to, let me find my little guy. There he is. Okay. When we go to print, we're inking, and then this will be flat, and then the paper is on top. So when you lift it up, it's a mirror image of what that is. So not all the students can, and there's ways you can teach them how to do that, but I feel like it's more important for them to visually express themselves rather than worrying about it being frontwards or backwards. But really with symbols, everything's backwards. It's like question marks, things like that.
Can you hold those two pieces up next to each other that you just
Yes.
showed? Okay.
So let's see. I wonder if it's reversing yours, because they carved it, the question mark, in reverse, and it printed the correct way. I don't know if it shows that. It's probably backwards, and because we're filming or in front of a camera.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me grab the other one. So the judge is on one side and on the print, but the other side on the carving. So everything will be completely backwards. One of the things we've run into is doing the American flag. We have to catch the kids before they start carving, because if you do the flag the correct way as you see it every day, it will print backwards. And then they're like, but what happened? I'm like, oh, that's the reverse, So today we don't really have to worry about that too much. It's just another reason why we just don't do the words or numbers. And something easily you can do, if the students want to do that, they can actually write something in marker or pen and hold it up just to the light, and then they can gently like trace on the back of it and then write it, so they can at least see what it looks like, mirror image backwards. But not everybody has to do that. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is take our carving tool and get our sketch ready to go. So I freehanded one already, but I'm going to show you what it's like to press into it, just because there's a couple different ways you can create an image with this. Like I said, you can take a pen or a pencil and trace over your design on your foam like this, or you can take your pencil and freehand it onto your foam. But I try not to let the kids do pencils straight onto here. One, they're pointy and they'll poke through, but two, we're supposed to be breaking that idea that I am drawing a design. We're trying to have them carve out the positive and negative space. So when you have your foam in front of you, let's see. you're going to be, you can use it like a pencil by pushing it on, by using it on its side. But we want to drag and press down. Let me see, because does it show up? I wonder if I can. Here, I'll use it. I know what I'll do. I'm going to use the marker. So we're going to be pretending that this is what I just carved. And then, so I can use the pointy end of your carving tool, but then I drag it across the wide part to go and fill it in. And then, let's see, and I have that on the other one. There's also, if you press down with a circle, you can make little tiny dots in it. So you just want to make sure that you use firm, you obviously are holding it down on your table, but use firm pressure to press down with your tool. And you can be really free with the different space. I know kids will have a lot of a harder time with, well, how do I fill up the space? And one of the things that we work on is texture and adding movement. So with these, you can add movement by having, you know, wavy lines. We can have texture by just hatch marks all over the place. We had, I had students who created a pattern in the background, and it looked great in the background of their prints. So and then again, with your white areas, you want everything to be white. We're trying to avoid, or not everything to be white, sorry. We want a balance between the positive and negative so with today, it's going to be green and white. So using different ways to carve and fill in the space. You just use your tools. You can do, there's lots of different things, but filling up the space doesn't have to be an object. And we want their objects to be big, but it doesn't have to be the whole entire thing. We can add different textures and things to the back of it. Okay, so this is the drawing that I'm going to be doing today. Well, it's a paintbrush with a pen with paint all around it. And I know it's hard to see because it's white on white, but I went through, well, you can kind of see it with the reflection. Yeah. So I went through and I added some of those lines back here. I made the brush, there it is. I flattened down the tip of the brush and then some paint that splattered. So that was my little design that we're going to do today. And so if you guys take a minute to transfer your design and carve it out, we'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And while we're waiting, I'm going to see if I'm going to try something with the camera, so maybe I can get right where you can see my hands right away. So I'm not sure. Oh, yes, it does work. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, you have a, yeah. Okay. Oop. There we go. Ah, how do you make it unmute?
They
Okay,
can unmute themselves.
that.
Oh, good.
I'm Rhonda. I teach at
Hi,
Plano
Rhonda.
Elementary. I'm the art teacher.
Hi.
I did a really neat set of prints. We did James Audubon, so we did birds,
Oh, yes.
texture, and the feathers. But I set up my iPhone on time lapse
Mm,
photo mode, and I propped it near a kid. It just showed their hand and their print.
yeah.
I filmed the whole class right on them, and they were fascinated at how when I played it back, it's done in 2 minutes
Oh, yes.
because they're in fast motion, and it was really neat for them to see the process with their own hands.
Yes, that's amazing. That's
That was
really
fun.
cool.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing. It is, that's the time lapse thing is so cool for artists to be able to show what takes so long into a short, a little amount of time. I actually just made one yesterday with an assemblage piece, like it was a larger piece, like about that size back there behind me. But I did not time lapse it. I timed it because I wanted to see how that would work, how long it took me. So it took me over 30 minutes to just assemble and attach everything to the board. And I condensed it down into like 29 seconds. It's a lot. And which is great because you get to show, nobody wants to sit there and watch me for 30 minutes. Thank you. How's it going for everybody? Good? Oh, good. Yay.
So I'm not sure, like, can you see that? Like, am I doing that right? I don't know if you
Yes,
can-
I can see the reflections.
Okay.
Tilt it top to bottom like that a little bit. Yes. Yeah. I can see it. I can see that you
Wasn't sure
have.
if I was doing it backwards.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing it backwards, so I'm not.
I guess I mean like in reverse of what I was supposed to.
Oh, yes. So, no, it looks like you are going to have a dark or a green background with white objects
Okay.
in it. Is that right?
Okay. I didn't
Okay.
know which one to do, so I just did.
So, I mean, I love printmaking because there is even the things that you're like, oh, I messed up or I had an accident or it didn't work out. it's, you can really learn something from it. Like, well, think about it. Like, why didn't it work this way? Or what if I did it the complete opposite way? And so that we can really get into doing a lot of experimenting, and also thinking about design too, because we can have a white background with solid objects, or we can have a dark background with white objects. And that's what we talk about with the students too. We try and get a little balance of both, but I don't, we've had a couple that I was like, oh wait, we have to tell them they can't just have a white line drawing on the as their print on just a solid background. So we have to use all of our textures, balance, positive and negative, and all of that. So let's see, everybody feeling good about printing, or are we still carving? I'll have a thumbs up if you're ready to go with printing. Well, we got a couple thumbs down. We've got a middle. Let me see. Oops, someone just asked, if you want to cut out your design, is there a secret to inking the cutout plate and picking it up without fingerprints? So yes, we can cut it out. Like the feather one that I showed you guys, we did cut it out. What you can do is have a little piece of tape sticking out around it, or you can, let's see. We're not using this one. I'll just do this. Make a little tab off to the side. For our purposes, that would just be enough, just that little tab. I mean, we can flatten it down so you wouldn't ink it. So you would just try not to get ink on it when you were rolling your ink. And if you did, you could just wipe it off with a paper towel or a wet wipe, which I use a lot in class. But I will say with students, they will find ways. We use as much preventative as we can, but they always they will get it on their fingers. But the thing that I use all the time is just like baby wipes. They're the best. All the ink that we use is water-based. So if the kids are they can raise their hand and request one. You can't just let them have that because they're all like, go away. I know you guys know this, but I had to learn this. As soon as you turn around, you're like, but I had a whole pack. I have 2 more classes to go. But that's great because if they get it on there, we tell them, like, with dealing with paper, you have to make sure your fingers are clean before you use your paper. That way you don't get the thumbprints or fingerprints, if they are dirty, onto your print. Okay, so I'm going to lean the camera down now so I can show you how much ink to use and how we're going to use it. So we're going to have our paper plate or whatever you're printing on or getting your ink onto, our deep jungle green, and our brayer. So,
and so some people may have blue. There's blue ink.
Oh, there's blue. You guys are lucky. Let's see. I want to make sure that let's see. I don't have the chat up the whole time, so I'm so sorry. If there's some questions in there, we'll review. Kimberly can help out too and be like, this is a good question. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to our step 3, excuse me, Nearpod print. So those are your actual the written instructions, but I will do it visually for you guys here. So I have my bottle of ink, and a little bit goes a long way. So it's easier to add a little and add more than to try and take it away. So let's see, get my paper ready to go. And okay, so I have my image and I have my brayer. So this in particular, you will want, this is where we want to have a little supervision. And I get really silly with the kids. So I can be like, you just tap it, little, whoop, whoop, little tap, because you're going to push and lift to get it on there. And it won't be covering the whole thing necessarily right at this moment, but we will. So you'll have the texture in there from rolling the ink back and forth. Let's see, I have a tiny plate. I picked the wrong size plate. Okay, so now we're going to go onto our print or onto our block. We want to make sure that we don't have too much ink to where there's like blobs of it, because then it'll get into the creases. So you're just going to lightly press down and do exactly what we did here, where we push and lift. So we're going to push and lift, and you can see where I pressed down is showing up white. And then I need a little bit more, so I'm going to go back to my plate and lightly push down. So we want to make sure that the kid, we're all children, really, or that we're covering all of the areas, making sure we're getting the edges and things like that. This is where wet wipes are going to come in handy too, because kids will go too fast and then they'll roll onto the table. I mean, I did that. So you know, it's totally fine. So we have a fully inked plate. If now the first print always comes out a little lighter, and that's totally fine. So now once we've got that rolled and the even coating, we're going to take our paper. The plate does not move from the table. If you need to scoot it over because you got ink on it like I did, you can just push it. But we're taking, do as I say, not as I do, to get your clean fingers and your piece of paper, and then we're going to just place it down directly on top. Press it down with your hands a little, just to make sure it doesn't move. And this is when you're gonna get your spoon or a Baron. I have a friend that uses a glass doorknob, like the back of it was flat. I thought that was really cool. And I'm using my hand right here, but I will use my Baron. So essentially what we're making sure that you don't have to crush it, but you do have to push firmly over it and hold the whole area and going into little circles, just to make sure that we're getting all the ink that we can. And it's not going to be 100% even, because we are not machines. We are little humans that can make amazing things. Okay, so now we're going to pull our print. And this next block, Nearpod thing is reveal. So we're slowly going to peel it off. It might be sticky, so you just hold one down, and that's totally fine. And ta-da! Here we go. Oh, I made a paintbrush with spilled paint. Who knew? So I guess, let's see, I'll do that again, just so we can have an extra example in there. We're going to, a little bit goes a long way. And then doing prints, you will create a series of prints. So that's usually what we'll go through, and we'll number each of the prints depending on how many we made. With Miss Perkins' class that I showed you earlier, we did a total of 8, and they had to sign it and title them and number all of them. So that is just something else that they can learn as student printmakers. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. I'll gently place my paper on top. I'm just going to do this one by hand, just see how well it goes. Oh, that turned out pretty nice. Okay. So those are the two prints. And one of them was I used my hand and a Baron, and then the other one was just my hand. So that one was my hand. So really, experiment using different things. And it's really, really fun. While I have you guys right here, I'm going to get out some more ink, and I'm going to show you what the other plates look like. I'm going to print off of those. The kids won't mind. They gave them to me. They're for me. Okay. So this is the foam, or this is the Speedy Carve. Lift and push. And again, put the paper down. I'll use the Baron for this guy. We made this at Stone Academy because this is their school emblem. So it looks like it still has some ink from before. Let's see. I'll print this guy too. So they both, they all really do the same thing in conveying what is called a relief print. So the relief is when you carve away areas and leave some areas behind, and the print created from that is a relief print. People do use wood, linoleum, and it's just as long as that's the relief is essentially the ink staying on top and not going into the crevices. So it's the opposite of an etching, which is the ink goes into where you've carved away and then you wipe it off after that. Pull your print. So let's see. Oh. Yay. I think the students looked better though. So, can we have like a few people want to share their prints? I think we said like 5. We'll have like 5 people share their prints, and then you can unmute yourself. I guess. Oh, look at that brain. Okay, I see one.
I teach gifted kids, and so this is the kid smiling and thinking.
Oh, I love it. Look at the little hair.
So I have lots of moisture in my house, Sunny. So the paper started to tear off on my camera lens here.
It still looks really good. I could definitely see.
But yes, because I'm a visual artist, I love capturing and seeing all the creativity that happens. So that's why I chose a camera.
Your daughter also chose the camera.
I know. I already put that in the comments. I was like, she showed Abby's camera.
This is Abby's. Yeah, we did. I guess when is
that
this?
was what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes. She loves
Love
it. Yes.
And
I'm
one of my
excited to
artist friends saw it.
I'm excited to work with you this year.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be really fun. I love Lee. Ellie's on the wait list, so we're like, please. Actually, one of my friends, my artist students or my art friends saw that when I was sharing their stories, and she bought one from Abby.
It made Abby, because I can't tell her that it's awesome.
No.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What else we got? Let's see. Let someone else want to share. Oh, I see some blue ones. Let's see. So I'm going to click on Kimberly Lane. because I can see yours. What did you draw today or print?
I have one of my favorite things is reading with kids because you can explore the world without going anywhere. And so I have an open book across the bottom, and then the world, and just a bunch of symbols as far as like, there's love, there's music, there's ideas, there's questions, exclamation points, and, the sun, the moon, all the science stuff around. So
I love it. Very cool. I agree. Books can take you everywhere. Let's see. Nanette, let's see the light bulb.
Oh, sorry, I had to unmute here.
Okay.
My trouble that I had is I kept getting ink into this the light bulb.
Yes.
And I went deep. I just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I was actually using a clay carving tool and ball end of it.
Yes.
I just couldn't get it deep enough. So I had to keep wiping it off with my fingers. That was a problem I had. And I don't know how I can just keep going deeper. Maybe it was because the object was big.
No, well, I mean, so there is a couple things. Yes, wiping it off is like a surefire way. That's not breaking the rules in any stretch of the imagination. So you're good on that. And then the making it a larger white area will have, as long as you can, with the brayer, if you can make it show it passes over it without getting it in there, which is really hard. You can, but the other thing is that I love when those little marks show up. Like, so with these little marks, and even in mine, this was like the little marks that are in here. Where's my print? And when they show up. So overall, it still gives the impression that this is a solid white area. I love the texture that shows up from printmaking because it really looks like it shows the hand of the artist or the student who did it. They really have, it shows how they did it, and it adds that really cool texture personally. So
something I've noticed, sorry to interrupt you, Sunny, is that kids that are perfectionists and kids, I mean, people that are like me, I want a clean line. And it's really hard for me with printmaking because it doesn't turn out perfect. And so this is something I have to work with the kids, and myself with, like, okay, it's probably not going to be perfect. And that's what makes it look authentic.
Yes. And that's exactly what I tell the students when we're working on it, because they want that. They're like, well, it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like that drawing or my picture. But I think that when they use those, we talk about this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to have texture and movement. And I used to call it intentional negative space, because you really can, if you carve a certain direction, the negative space out, it can leave like a really cool pattern behind it that won't take away from your image. And like Abby, she got hers super clean. And then we have ones that had all of that texture still behind it. And I don't think either one there is, one is better than the other to have clear negative space. It's just what the artist, like you said, that envisions and what they want. But with kids, I try. Yeah.
I think too, I don't know if you made this point, but I feel like the lines are a lot cleaner when you're using those actual linoleum bricks compared to the foam. The foam is just not as clean. And it's really great because it's inexpensive. It's really fast.
Yeah.
But the lines just are not as crisp as when you're using the carving tools. And
yeah, definitely. What you could do too is, if you wanted a certain area not to have it, take your X-Acto knife and just cut out, put it on a cut mat. I know that maybe not kids would want to do this, but or if you would want them to do that. But you can cut it out on here. And then you'll have, that way there's definitely not going to be any ink in there. So if you do have something that's large, like the light bulb, and you want it to, and you don't mind the texture being everywhere else, but you want the texture to be out of the light bulb, you can cut it out. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do that, but it's really working with the kids to be like, this isn't, it isn't going to be perfect. And I also bring examples of my work. Sorry, there's one right here. So I intentionally leave, these are all, I've carved them all away, and I know it's a little hard to see in there, but I purposely leave that even when I do black and white images. Oh, I think I have one right here too. Oh, yes, okay. So this one was damaged, so it got water on it, but even the little, I bring them examples to show them, and we talk about like how I love seeing it and how cool it is, because you really, if you can imagine what made those marks, especially after you've been practicing it, you know all the work that went into it. And it's just a different way to appreciate a hand-pulled print, or just printmaking in general. So.
Awesome, Sunny. Also, teachers, thank you to everybody who is putting pictures in the Padlet. We've put a new Padlet link up, and I think about 10 people so far have taken pictures and are starting to post those in there. I will share my screen real quick so we can see a few of those, because they are really great. I even shared I'm really not a visual artist, but I always enjoy giving it a go. So you can see that we're already got some great examples being posted.
Oh, these are great, guys.
Sunny, can you talk a little bit about the paint and like how different types of paint can be used and maybe aren't perfect but can still kind of be okay? Like there's some cheaper paints that will work. Like if you're in second grade, it's probably, we don't want permanent ink maybe.
No, yeah, definitely not. These little jelly prints, they are essentially an acrylic paint, but it has slow drying properties to it, so it won't dry out on your block as you're doing it, or on your plate as you're rolling your ink. That's really important, because you can do this with acrylic paints. They just have to have like a slower drying medium, and that's something you can get a slower drying medium, or just like an additive that you can mix in with certain paints. The advantage of doing acrylic paints is something that they can dry and cut it out later and make a collage or make something else with their print. Because once they're using glue and everything like that, the acrylic paint won't reactivate and become wet again. But if you're using, there is Speedball makes a ton of printmaking. So does Blick, and so does there's another brand that I used before for student printmaking that's really inexpensive. The Blick brand, you can't say that fast at all. Blick brand is it's great. It's water-based and it's printmaking ink, but the only thing is that you cannot use it in collages later without fixing it first, by spraying it or something like that with a medium. But
so Sunny, with that, you said the Blick acrylic paint for kids. You said you have to spray it with something. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's only if you're going to use it in a collage or something later. Like if you're going to cut it out and put it in a mat and frame it, it's totally fine. But if it gets wet, it can the print itself. Like if someone were to come and take this and it was made with printing inks, and try and like cut it and collage it with like Mod Podging it down or something, or even like regular glue, the moisture will affect. It'll reconstitute the paint and it'll smear. So
on the Blick, like the acrylic or the printmaking?
On printmaking ink. Gotcha. So if you get the printmaking ink, that usually is not like waterproof. When you use an acrylic base, that's what will solidify. If it's dried long enough, usually we take it and we don't collage it until the following day. So if once it's dried, you can cut and collage it and put it back all together, make your quilts and things like that. And it won't smear the images.
Sunny,
awesome.
That you spray.
Sunny, I don't know if you can see me. Can you see that?
Oh yes, that's me.
No, that's cute. And I just made the connection when you showed the video and went, OMG,
yes.
full circle. Your daughter was in my art class at GMA, and it's one of my most treasured gifts from
Aw.
students.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
very cool. Good to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. She loves Peyton is now in she's going into 11th grade. She's at the Fine Arts Center, but she does theater tech. So but she loved your class. She absolutely did.
I didn't connect the name and the name, and just I saw the bill and went, oh my gosh, that's got to be it.
It is. It's me. Yay. Good. I'm so glad. I love giving little presents like that away. So good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You never know if someone's going to be like, ew, a bug.
Beetles are my favorite insect, so it was like perfect karma.
Oh, good. Well, I'll let her know that I saw you today.
Sunny, what is the spray
Fix it.
that you would put on it to fix it? Yeah.
So
what would we look for?
Let's see. Just a spray varnish. But something that is cheaper that you can like do once the kids are gone, you could take it outside. What I've done before was I've taped them down to like this cardboard or something and taken clear spray paint. And that puts enough of a layer on top of it. I do too, because it's really hard. Like if you play around with it, you can see how much coating you need, but it's just one layer of clear protected, just so the water doesn't penetrate that ink. And so again, the speedball, like water-based print-making inks are the ones that can get reconstituted, whereas the acrylic paints, like these jelly printing ink paints and things like that are, they will last longer, but then they allow you to collage and get it wet again without destroying the image.
Awesome. Hey, Sunny, how should we clean our brayers, do you think?
Oh, you just wash it in the sink with water and maybe soap if you need it. So okay. This is really, really easy to clean up. I even have, let's see, like sometimes when the kids, like I said, how I stress, like a little bit goes a long way. You don't want too much on your brayer because it'll get blobby and then it won't work. A lot of times we can just go back in and just take it off with a wet wipe. So that'll clean it off too. But I will take it to the sink and rinse it off. There's always kids in class that want to be the helpers. And I'm like, would you like to clean these? And they're like, yes. So they just they're like, I'm like, yay. I love it. I love when they do that. So yeah, so it's really easy to clean up. Both awesome. Acrylic paints and the printmaking inks are both easy to clean up.
And someone had a question about using multiple colors, and that comes down to more of this collaging thing where you're letting things dry and.
Well, you can. So let's see. Essentially, kids will ask. Actually, they've done it. They were like, "Can I do half and half?" And it's fine if you want to let them do that, but there's more of like, you have to be a little more strict in the how they go about doing it. You could put ink on one side and over here, and then roll it to where it'll blend. I'll get another color I could show you. But if you wanted to do a different color, one of the things you could do is print in one color and then go back in. Do I have any prints of these guys? Yes. Here's the other one. You can cut it out and collage it together. You can cut them out and Mod Podge it or glue them onto pieces of paper or cardboard, so the kids can show the different images in different colors. Another thing that you could do is I try and keep the brayers one solid color, only because it helps. But by the time class is over, you have like a lot of brown because everything's mixed together. But especially with the foam, you can just cut it and then ink it in two different colors, as in print one. I mean, this will be a little bit more tedious, but if I wanted that blue, I could ink it with blue and ink this with green and then lay it back on my table like this and then put the paper on top. So that's another way that you can do it. The foam is really great because you can really do so many different things with it, and it's not expensive. It's so not expensive. So, and these are lollipop sticks. You get like 100 for like $5. So, and these are really long, so you can even cut them in half if you needed to. But I usually am just like, just use the other end if you get it messed up. You guys have any what other questions?
Yeah, so as far as purchasing more materials, Sunny did put links to the materials that we bought. This paint actually came from jelly.com. They actually sell. Did you want to show them the jelly plate itself, Sunny?
I have one.
So there's another type of printmaking that you can do that has like a little plate that's made of this like clear plastic.
So I have a really big one for me at my studio that I use. But this is essentially all that it is. And we can just I'll just do a little demo real quick with that. How about that? You guys want it?
That'd be awesome.
Okay. I completely forgot that I had this guy here. So let me move the camera back down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so it's clear. Usually what we'll do is we'll have it on a little plate like this. These are more pricey, but they last a really long time as long as nobody's like biting them or stabbing them and things like that. It's really great. So what we will do for the jelly plate class is I'll have 2 pieces of tape, and then I'll have the 2 pieces of paper. And to get ready, I'll lay this across here and then tape it down so it's like a little hinge, and it's sticky, so just watch out for that. And then we usually have 2 colors that we'll use, and the kids trade using them, like take turns using them at their tables. But for this, what I will do is show you how we can do it. So this is really nice because you just smooth it over the whole thing, and this even uses the jelly plates uses even less ink because you're smoothing it around. It won't stain the plastic or the jelly plate. Sorry, this is a little slippity. Oh, it's because I didn't take the back off. Usually there's really grippy. So with these, we use 2 different colors, but what I will do is I will show you what we can do here. So here's my paintbrush. And we'll put that like that. I did have a heart, but I don't know where it went. So we will put down our stencils. You can have like cutouts of things. Let's see. We'll just do a little bit of blank things. So then we take this and lay it across. You fold it down. So this is the first image that we're going to get. And then I'm using my Baron. So when that comes up, one side will have, this is very basic, but we will have a little image that has the silhouettes. Obviously, this is a masterpiece. Thank you so much. But then we will take the stencils off and set those aside because the ghost image, or the second printing, is going to be all the ink that was hidden by the stencils, and gives you the negative of what you just did. So then you fold your paper down with your hinge back across, and you go. Okay. I like these the best because it's really neat. So it was light, but you can see how what was left behind in there.
And those are reused?
Yes, these are reusable. I'll use my.
Yeah, you can just wash them off with soapy water.
Yeah.
And there's some other workshops I've been to where people actually take like pages from really shiny magazines and put them on those jelly plates and transfer them.
Oh yeah, jelly plates are super versatile.
I mean, you definitely have to watch some videos on them.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot with them, and you can put kids in groups and stuff, and like just keep washing and reusing them.
Yeah, we've that's another thing that we use the wet wipes for, because they can, depending on how many kids you have in class, one can be printing or pulling their print, and one could be inking, and just rotating through the materials. These first we printed with the yellow, and we put the stencil of the leaf down, the big leaf, and then we printed that and lifted it off. We lifted up the stencil, and then we printed it, and then we inked it again with the red, and put the stencil on it in a different way. And I know you might not be able to see it, but there's like a little bit in here, and you can see the other.
A cool way that you layered it, because the first two prints, the red and the yellow, are the jelly plate, but then you put the foam print with black on top, and I think that's really there's a Hawaiian artist that or he's South American, but he was displaying in Hawaii when we saw it, that did he did giant paintings, but then he would do like an emblem on it, like, and so that's what we did for self-expression. In her class, we would have the kids design what their black and white image would be, and then they would make a larger background for it to hold on to. So it was really, and those, I mean, they look great. Kids get into it, and it's really fun. And once they figure out like the positive and negative and the shadow, or and the ghost prints and stuff like that, it's really cool. So if you can usually get, I think there's like a box of 12 or 15 of these. You can find them on Amazon or Blick, and it's Jelly Plate. Jelly is the brand. Jelly Arts, that's their brand. But I want to say, like, it's to get a class pack, it's like $100, but that's something that you can use over and over and over again, as long as they're taken care of. You just clean them off afterwards, and we sit them on, just like down on a little drying rack, so it drips dry, because they do have like a little tacky texture, but it's great because then it won't move on the table when they're doing it, or on their. I have a little whiteboard that I draw a square onto, so they have to put it inside the square, so it just saves cleanup time later. I think those are great in stations too. Like if you only wanted to have a few, you could definitely do that, like in a station kind of activity. So that would you wouldn't have quite so many for that. So
yeah.
Let's look over at the Google Doc real quick. So I just want to show everybody a couple of the resources that Sunny put together for us. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick, just so that we can kind of just look at a few things. So of course, we have the Zoom meeting on here, but that will become a link to the recording. So if you missed anything and you want to go back and look, I will put the recording there after the session. Also, please don't forget to do the Google attendance question. But if you, and this is the updated Padlet, so if you've not shared your work yet, you can do that there. But on page 2, there's actually a link Here's a printmaking video that Sunny has shared with us. There's some links to some of these art supplies. Like here are those, I think each of you got 4 of these printing plates in your packet, but these are like $13 for 100. They're very, very inexpensive. And so some of those tools are just listed here. So if you do want to try and do project on your own, everything you need is just here in the Google document.
I also, if we have a larger class or if we want to do 2 different designs, I will take those foam blocks and cut them in half. So that's another way you can do it. And those are especially great for the when they're smaller like that, for them to carve their own little individual objects. Like that feather thing that I showed, like this. That's what we did for these.
Absolutely. Great. Any more questions for Sunny? I'm going to share our Padlet really quick, just because I just want to, everybody's stuff is like so great that everybody made. So thank you for everyone for sharing your work. Really great job. Wow. Some of these
look at the little blue dog.
Yeah, that's awesome. These are really great. And so you can
These are
actually
so
go
good.
look at everybody else's and make some comments and stuff. And please keep adding your pictures to these. So I think it's really great just to see what everyone else comes up with. So, Sunny, so if you want more information just about your work in general, now, of course, you've got your website, but where can they go and maybe, see some of your work exhibited or?
On my website, but I think like my best view of what I'm doing currently is probably Instagram and stories in there, because I'm much easier to throw up a picture like that and then keep going for the stories. And actually you could see a lot of different things there, but I do have my gallery on my website has a lot of different work that I have. So
right now, you do open studios, which will be in November, so people can come visit you in your studio as part of the Metropolitan Arts Council's Open Studios program, which is really great. And actually, most of our teaching artists are involved in that.
Yes, it's so great to show. You guys can see me just a little bit on this screen, but my printing press is behind me. All of our tools are here. It's really nice to be able to show people and to have them understand what all goes into our work. And that's why I love going to other artists' open studios too, but I gotta stay here. At least I can still see my studio mates.
I just want to point out, Janelle noticed that the jellyarts.com also has lessons for every grade level. So if you're looking for somewhere to get some more ideas, definitely check out jellyarts.com, because they have a lot of great ideas, and they actually have videos I think they have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, that Golden and Jelly Arts are great with any kind of tutorial videos. Though both of those put out some really great, and Blick also has a good, so those 3 do a really great job with showing you how to use the materials that they've got.
Great. Sunny, we have another question. Did you design your tattoos yourself?
Oh, no. I told them what I wanted. Just like other artists, I have an artist that I really like, the way she does tattooing, because I think that's a whole nother art form. And I said what flowers I wanted and birds. These are 3 little birds because I have 3 kids and they're my little birds. Although now they're all giant eagles now. But yes, so no, I didn't, but I told them what I wanted. This is my Lord of the Rings arm, if there's any LOTR nerds out there.
Awesome. Well, great, Sunny. This has just been fabulous. Thank you for sharing your art with us.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to it. And Sunny will be at the in-person lunch on Wednesday too. And of course, if you think of questions, like sometimes when I'm in something, I'm just like trying to process everything, and then 2 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely shoot me an email too. You can email me or
put that in the Padlet. Definitely, Sunny will be can check
I think
back in there too, and I can get that to
I'll
her. So I'm going to send you the new Padlet. So
Okay, good.
I'm sending you a new one. So anyways, thank you, everybody. Let me also, I have to give everybody the attendance code. Let me not forget to do that. So let me grab that real quick, and then I will let everybody get out of here. And Sunny, if you want to say any final words while I grab that.
Oh, my final words. Oh, my goodness.
Not final words forever, but.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, this was so much fun. I absolutely love going to the classroom. So if anybody wants to like just have somebody come in and talk to their kids about art, or you know, I would love to be able to work with everybody because I love doing this so much. Smart Arts is so amazing. The Metropolitan Arts Council is so amazing for helping us do this, and all of our sponsors. It's so great that we can actually do this without having the burden be on like the school district or something like that. So it's really cool that we get to do this, and I love it.
And you're also on the South Carolina teaching artist roster. So
yes.
If people do have ABC money, they can also hire you with ABC money. Okay.
Actually, that's how we did the League Academy mural, was ABC money, and that's how we're going back. So it's really cool.
Okay, I'm putting the attendance codes in here. So year 1 and year 2, y'all have different codes. So this is July the 20th. So this is the year 1 code, and now I will put in the year 2 code so our teachers can get their PD credit. So now I'm putting in year 2.
Oh, I see a stone teacher, first time. Hannah, congratulations! You're gonna love it. All of my kids went through Stone and studied
so really excited.
So
what
for
grade
year
are you
3,
teaching?
If you would message me, I will have to send my year 3 people. I think there's about 4 of you. You'll have to put that code actually in tomorrow, even though you're not taking the class tomorrow. So I will be sending that to all my year 3 people. So just make sure you do that attendance question. But I can go ahead and give you that year 3 code to show you'll have it, but you'll just have to wait till tomorrow. So that's Rachel, Sherry. There's about 5 of y'all from year 3 that are over here today. So.
And Rachel's kids did it with her today. Yay, that's so exciting. I love it. I just saw that comment. I'm so slow to read these comments, so that's why I had Kimberly and I worked together on that.
It was great.
I am a squirrel brain, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. As you guys get your codes and everything, you're welcome to dip out. We will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Process Drama with Kelly Davis. We're actually going to be, so the book that's in your bag is actually going to be the book we're going to use the first 20 minutes of that class, first 30 minutes. And then we're going to be doing a mock trial based on Lord of the Rings. And so mock trial is going to be really fun because it's something you can do in social studies or science or English. That's going to be something that I think will be very useful to everybody. And I'm excited. So thank you again, Sunny, for taking your time out of your very busy day, because I know you've got a lot of art work to do yourself.
Well, I'm about to go over to GB&D and paint a mural there. So if anybody wants to see it in action, eat lunch and watch me paint and dance while I listen to my earphones.
Awesome. Well,
Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much.